for the meeting of February 8th at 7:30 p.m. Councilor Devlin, as previously noted, is absent. Councilor Khan.
Present.
Councilor Lane.
Here.
Councilor McCauley.
Present.
Councilor Connell.
Present.
Councilor Shan.
Present.
Councilor Tantar.
Present.
Councilor Vogel.
Present.
Councilor Wallace.
Here.
Councilor Zede.
Here as well.
And Councilor Eigenman.
Here.
10 present, 1 absent.
I regret to acknowledge that the city solicitor has reminded us that all votes have to be roll call votes, which is incredibly tedious and stupid, but that's what we're going to do. How about late file items? I think there are actually 3 of them tonight.
There are, Mr. President. There's Communication 298, which is the Plum Island fiscal implications of sea level rise. That actually made the packet. You'll see it in there, even though it's a late file. 2 did not make the packet. I sent them out this afternoon. One is Communication 299, which is a letter from the Phillips Drive residents. And there's a resolution from the mayor on COVID and its consequences, and that's Order 240.
Motion to waive the rules and accept the late files.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Councilor Tantar.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Eigenman.
Yes.
Just a point of order, if I may. What was the first one that made the packet? The first one?
It's Communication 298. You'll see it at the end of part 1.
I see it. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to public comments. So as usual, if attendees wish to make a comment, you get 2 minutes. Just raise your hand electronically. Please give your name and your home address. The first person up, hold on, I gotta get ready, is Molly Edinburgh. Just a second. Go ahead, Molly.
Hi, good evening, councilors. Molly Ettenborough, 35 Toppins Lane. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the letter and memo you received regarding residential aggregation. As some of you may recall, Community Choice Aggregation is a program that allows local governments to procure power on behalf of their residences and businesses from alternative suppliers, while still receiving transmission and distribution services from existing utility, in our case, National Grid. These are attractive options for communities that want price stability, more local control over their electricity sources, more green power than is offered by the default utility, and or lower electricity prices. By aggregating demand, communities gain leverage to negotiate better rates with competitive suppliers and choose greener power sources. Newburyport approved residential aggregation by City Council in March of 2014, and DPU, the Department of Public Utilities, approved our plan in December of 2015. Since that time, Newburyport has received pricing from Colonial Power, who is our power broker, but felt pricing could be better and wanted to see more renewable options. So we have never engaged in that yet. But today, pricing is more competitive and there are a lot more green options. So we are bringing this back to the council to inform you about this and take a look at it again and hopefully go out to bid again and see what we can get for pricing and see if we can bring this to the residents and businesses. The important thing to note that this is an opt-out program. Residences and businesses who have not already selected a competitive supplier will be automatically enrolled in the program. So it's really important that we're communicating efficiently to all of our residences and businesses. I think you all are going to be referring this to the Public Utilities Committee tonight, and I just want you to know that myself, Matt Coogan has some experience with this. Our Energy Advisory Committee, as well as our broker, Colonial, are available throughout the whole process to help with any questions or concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Michael Strauss.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Mike Strauss, 56 Federal Street. I'm also chair of the Newburyport Energy Advisory Committee, and I'm also here to talk to you about municipal aggregation. I will try not to repeat what Molly has just said, but it is an opt-out program. One of the reasons to look at it now is the state is moving in this direction. This is part of a long-term trend that began in the late 1990s, where the state partially deregulated the energy industry. Currently, over 50% of the cities and towns in Newburyport have a municipal aggregation program. So this is the way the state is moving. Soon, National Grid or our utilities will no longer be the big movers in the energy market. It will be the aggregated communities that do it. So we need to be part of that. We need to be doing it. You may have seen the Attorney General's report on how consumers in this state have been losing money by the retail ability to choose their energy pricing. That's because there are plenty of unscrupulous energy distributors out there going wholesale, door to door. You've probably gotten the telephone calls, emails, and letters from them. And they give you a teaser price and then jack them up. This is a way to protect our residents and in particular our low-income residents from that. There's also better pricing available for low-income residents through various programs. So this is a mechanism which we will be able to control our energy prices and sources for our community in the future. And so we strongly support it. We look forward to, the Energy Committee looks forward to working with City Council so that you folks can understand it better and we can make better decisions moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Strauss. Next is Mr. Sarf, Colin Sarf.
Hello?
Yes, go right ahead.
I'm Colin Sarf. I live on 23 Charter Street, and I just wanted to say thank you for my upcoming approval for the Commission on Disabilities. Pretty much on that, so.
Thank you very much. Next is Jenny Donahue.
Good evening, Council President, Councilors, and Clerk Jones. Jenny Donahue here, 18 Terry Street, Chair of the Newburyport Commission on Disabilities. Just following up on Colin's appointment, just on behalf of the Disability Commission, we're really excited to have him joining us. He's going to be representing a demographic we don't currently have represented, and we're thrilled to have him joining us. So again, on behalf of the Commission, we thank you for his appointment. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have for public comment. Now we'll go to Mayor's comment. Mayor Holliday, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Good evening, President O'Brien, President Eigerman, and members of the City Council. I gave you a few hours ago an update and pretty detailed in terms of where we stand in terms of COVID-19. The overall good news is that our rates are dropping just in the past week over 50%, bringing us to a positivity rate of 2.31. However, we still must be vigilant in terms of following all the CDC guidelines, and you know what all of those are. In terms of vaccines, very pleased that finally on Friday, the state set up a 211 hotline for those over 75. They're working to open it up for the different phases, and that is a very positive for our seniors who are trying to get to schedule a vaccine. The Council on Aging That vaccine program will start, run by Beth Israel Lahey Health, Anna Jakes Hospital, on the 15th. Unfortunately, they did not get the number of vaccines they had hoped to start. So instead of doing from 8:30 to 7, they'll do 9 to 3 next week. And then hopefully the following week they have less vaccine, but that could change if more vaccines do come in. And the Council on Aging has been fielding calls and hired an intern to help seniors navigate this very complex system. Thank you for accepting the resolution I put before you. This came out yesterday from the U.S. Conference of Mayors, asking cities across the country to set the first Monday in March as the COVID Memorial Day to honor all of the people in our country who we've lost to this horrific virus and those who are still suffering. We've lost 32 residents to date, and I would really like to establish the first Monday in March as this and be part of this national movement. So that is before you, and happy to discuss that further. In terms of our snow response, we got 17 inches of snow in that nor'easter on February 1st, and I would like to thank Tony Finari, Jamie Tucolo, and the staff from DPS who worked for over 30 hours straight to clear the snow, and again for their work yesterday. It's not easy, but I think they did a really decent job. I think most of you are aware of the struggles we're dealing with Plum Island and the Reservation Terrace area. Mass DOT did come, as I sent an update during the storm, and set up another 150 super sacks, but by the 2 in the morning high tide, they did not hold. So Mass DOT has stepped up, and their engineering team is looking for a solution, been on numerous conference calls since the February 1st, and we're hoping that Wednesday with a follow-up call we'll have another plan that they will put before us that can be permitted for Reservation Terrace. So there'll be more coming on that, but we are certainly encouraged with the fact that $7.8 million has been awarded to the Army Corps of Engineers to dredge the Merrimack River, and those dredge spoils will be placed on Reservation Terrace. So we just have to get from here until the fall. Numerous permitting and a lot of work has to happen before the river can be dredged, but that will be beneficial in so many ways. I've also reached out to MEMA over the weekend to ask for some storm cleanup assistance out on Plum Island, and one of the residents was very helpful in collecting all of that information that I sent to MEMA today, so more will be coming on that. As I mentioned in your last meeting, we're awaiting BSC's 75% design, which should be received in the next few weeks, early March. At that point, we will review their plans and then begin to work on how we can put a bid package together and put the project out for bid, probably late spring, early summer, so that project can begin in the fall.
Which project is that, Mayor? That's Phillips Drive?
Phillips Drive, yes.
Okay.
And I did give you a maintenance update of some of the things that were high priorities for Phillips Drive in an attachment with my update. KP Law has filed our complaint against highway safety in Essex Court, and certainly we'll keep you posted on how that unfolds over the next several months. Roadway improvement plan is just about ready. We will be setting up meetings with individual counselors in the wards, in particular, to go over the list of streets on that, and then do a public meeting where we can relay the plans for the next 5 years in terms of the paving program. Fire station feasibility studies, we had a follow-up meeting today just to get an update on one of the designs that Winter Street has worked on for Station 2. They do have another task before them to look at a one-level building with the abutters property, and they will have that ready in a few weeks. And then we will look at the full package of their entire feasibility study. The other piece that I've started working on with the assessors, and I appreciate the work of Councillor Khan and also the interest of Councillor Vogel to work on this with city staff. Salem and Weston have passed home rule petitions to address senior property tax relief. Disappointed last year that we couldn't get 41C1/2 passed, but understand there were concerns about the asset limit. This way we can set the parameters for our own program, and we'll keep you posted on how that unfolds. Just wanted to let you know the DEI Alliance on diversity, equity, and inclusion, where Councillor Shan represents the council. We've been meeting since December, also working with Michael Ettman, and we'll be participating in the community read of Just Mercy by Byron Stevenson. I'm really excited about the work that is starting to come together with this group, and there'll be more information forthcoming once we finish the SWOT analysis and then can begin to roll out some of the action steps that we're working on. Very, very pleased that the waterfront park, we got 14 proposals, really solid proposals, really good bids. The committee has reviewed them all, selected the top 3. We did interviews of those top 3 firms last week and opened the bids on Friday. Again, very, very pleased with where we are, and we should solidify who we are selecting for the design of our central waterfront park by the end of the week. So there'll be a little more information coming on that shortly. Also wanted to recognize Afroz Khan, who's been elected to represent city councilors on the board of directors at MMA. Congratulations to Councillor Khan. I will continue to represent District 3 of the mayor's group on the board of directors. And I was also elected to be the chair of the Women Elected to Municipal Office this year, sponsored by the Mass Municipal Association. And finally, I just wanted to remind everyone that on the 18th of this month at 7 o'clock, we will be presenting the resiliency plan that was worked on diligently by a great team of people and volunteers, internal and external staff, and would hope to see you all at that meeting. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Are there questions for the mayor? I think you are all set. Thank you very much, Mayor.
You're welcome. Have a great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, consent agenda. I know, Clerk Jones, that we got 3 changes emailed in. You go ahead and tell us about it. Wait, Councillor Tantar has another one, it looks like. Yes. You're muted.
Sorry.
Okay.
Request that communications 290, 295, and 296 be removed from the consent agenda.
290, 295, and 296.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, those are out.
To be taken up in the regular agenda, I trust.
Please.
Yeah, those all go under item 11. And while you're doing that, so we're going to take out the Walter Chagnon appointment. That's going to go on the regular agenda, first reading. And then Jennifer Blanchet and Robert Champetti were going to be listed for automatic removal, but those are out now. So technically they're still in committee.
Got it.
Councillor Z, did you have anything else? Hold on.
I don't know if you were accepting further amendments now.
Yeah,
okay,
I am.
Sure.
Yeah.
I want to also remove, or I actually don't have to remove it. Can I make a motion to amend to direct appointment 229 to general government? Let me start with that.
I actually don't think we can do that. I don't think you can do. I think we just pull it. We'll deal with it when we get to it.
Then I'd like to pull 226 and 229. Thank you.
26 and 229.
Appointments.
26, 229.
KP Law and Andrew Port. Got it.
All right. Anything else? No, all right. With those emendations, Clerk Jones, what do you got?
Made my job a lot easier. We have the approval of January 23rd, which was the retreat, those minutes, as well as January 27th, those minutes. We have the remaining communications in the consent agenda, which are communication 291, which is the FY 2021 mid-year budget report to go from Ethan Manning to go to Budget and Finance. We have communication 292, which is the memo on electricity, the aggregation program that Molly Ettenborough just spoke to go to Public Utilities. We have communication 293, which is a letter from Jane Snow with respect to the Rupert Knox School name, if you will. That's to go to Education Committee. Then we have the following two communications are out. We have no transfers. We have the first appointment 226 for the regular agenda. We have the first reading of KP Law to the regular agenda. That leaves appointment 230, Joe Texera, 44 Hale Street Conservation Commission until 2/28/2024, skipping Walter Shagnon. And then that leaves appointment 232, Keith Hogan, 3 Bartlett Drive, to the Trust Fund Committee until 3/1/2024. Following items are removed from the committee with the vote on approval of the consent agenda. For Budget and Finance, we have 2 items, Order 228 and Central Congregation amended award. And then we have Communication 264, Colleen Turner's letter. General Government, we have Order 237, the resolution regarding January 6th. And then in Planning and Development Committee, we are skipping Jennifer. We are going to appointment 208, Mark Sendrin, 91 High Street, to the Historical Commission. We have appointments 210 and 216. Waterfront Trust and Conservation Commission also will be out. We have appointments 217 and 220. They're out. And we have Order 234 regarding the preservation restriction of 190 High Street. That is out. With those changes, that's the consent agenda this evening.
Motion to approve as everything.
Second.
Amended.
Roll call.
Motion to approve is amended. Councillor Khan. I'm sorry,
Yes.
Councillor Devlin has joined. I'll make the note of that. Thank you, Councillor Devlin. Councillor Devlin?
Yes.
No? Okay. Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor Lane?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Connell?
Yes.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Tantar?
Yes.
Councillor Vogel?
Yes.
Councillor Wallace?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
And Councillor Eigenman?
Yes. Okay. All right. Regular agenda, mayor's update.
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Roll call.
Councillor Devlin?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor Lane?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Connell?
Yes.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Tantar?
Yes.
Councillor Vogel?
Yes.
Councillor Wallace?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
And Councillor Argument.
Yes. For those of you joining us late, the city solicitor reminded us we have to do roll call whenever we meet electronically. Sorry. Now we were going to do a presentation. Tell us about the presentation, Clerk Jones.
Well, the presentation is from Kim Turner of the Parks Commission with respect to the water quality at Bartlett Mall, so-called. And I trust she is here.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait, Councillor Tantar has his hand up. Hold on.
We have Rule 19 that any presentation has to be sponsored by a councilor. I move that we waive Rule 19 to allow the Parks Commission to speak.
Second.
Well, actually, Councillor Shan sponsored it. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Yeah, Councillor Shan, I beg your pardon. I should have said.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So next I have to figure out how to give Kim control, right?
You make her a panelist,
Yep. Yeah, make
and then
her
she
a
can
panelist.
chair.
All right. You are a panelist. So Kim, I think you can do screen share.
Yes, thank you all. Let me just see if I can figure out how to do the screen share.
Okay.
All right, I'm not seeing that option now, although we went over this yesterday.
Well, it should be at the very bottom. There should be a green button.
Oh, there we go. Yep. Thank you. All right. So good evening, counselors, and thanks for your time tonight. I'm going to hopefully keep this pretty short. For those who do not know me, my name is Kim Turner. I'm the chair of the Parks Commission here in Newburyport. Those who do know me know that cleaning up the water quality at the Bartlett Mall has been one of my most critical goals for the park since I joined the commission about 7 years ago. I have a dream to bring it back, bring back the Bartlett Mall Frog Ponds to its former glory as a resource that it should be for the community. About once a year, there's a black and white video that gets circulated on social media describing urban renewal. It's grainy, there's folks wearing throwback 70s clothing, and it's completely mesmerizing as it describes what happened in our city 45 years ago. Those who share it do so with pride that the decision makers and residents of our city that had the foresight and courage to save the historic character and fabric of our city. This was their legacy, and it's been a gift to each and every one of us ever since. We're faced with a similar situation right now. The Frog Pond's decaying, and it's been doing so for a very long time. We have an opportunity now, just like we did in the 70s, to restore the Bartlett Mall and the Frog Pond and give it back to our children as the gift it's meant to be, with paddle boating, skating, and recreating all year round. This is our generation's legacy, so that 45 years from now, this time will be looked upon with the same pride because we saved our pond for the city. It should be noted that the earliest maps of the Mall are still recognizable today. The Mall really has not changed that much since the 1600s when early colonial settlers used its kettle hole as a place to graze and water livestock. The Mall is Newburyport's original town common. In the 1700s, it was used for industry. There was rope making, ice harvesting, there was a windmill and a potash factory. It was also used as a training ground for militia that would go on to fight in the Revolutionary War. In 1800, it was transformed from a place of industry to one for beauty and pleasure exclusively, and it remains that way today. In 1800, through the efforts of Captain Edward Bartlett, the promenade in front of the courthouse was created. And in doing so, a deep ravine from the head of Green Street was filled in, and it cut off a fresh water supply to the pond. This is back in 1800. The water became stagnant, started to smell, and it's been an issue for the city ever since. Historic newspaper articles tell us that the city by the late 1800s was faced with two choices: either fill in the pond, bringing the park up to nearly the same height as High Street, which luckily everyone agreed was a bad idea, or add a fountain in the middle to try to aerate the water. So in 1891, Edward S. Mosley donated a fountain to the city in memory of his father, Ebenezer Mosley, for, quote, sanitary and ornamental effect. The fountain was selected out of a Fisk Company catalog in New York. It was a stock fountain called the Tennessee Crane, which was actually a heron with its arms outstretched and its head tilted back to spray out some water from its mouth. And it was, for at least some time, connected to a municipal water source. The fountain did a decent job of keeping the pond somewhat healthy for almost the next 100 years. However, by the 1980s, it was completely disintegrated due to deteriorating water quality, and a group of residents began to campaign to fundraise to replace it. In 1987, Jeffrey Briggs, who's a resident and an internationally renowned carousel sculptor, he actually designed the carousel at the Rose Kennedy Greenway in Boston, donated his time and design for a new fountain. Because the Tennessee crane was often mistaken for a swan, he cleverly designed 3 intertwined swans that would all spurt water, thereby increasing the water output and aeration to the pond. He also changed its color from dark to white so that it would be more easily seen from across the pond. At that time, Jeffrey and others warned the city of the water quality of the frog pond, but the city opted not to connect the fountain to a municipal water source. And on top of that, they also diverted remaining stormwater from neighboring streets into the pond, and many believe that this further contributed to the decline of the pond water, because now its sole means of receiving water is from precipitation and surface runoff from the slopes. In fact, the water quality so quickly deteriorated that after 1987, the fountain had to be turned off within a matter of years, and it's been shut off now for nearly 2 decades. So what has the city done since the late 80s? In 2014, we hired an engineering firm to study the pond. They identified arsenic, chromium, and lead in the subsoil, and TP, or total phosphorus, in the muck. They, at that time, recommended dredging the pond, which is both extremely expensive and not very environmentally conscious because it makes the toxic soil somebody else's problem. Some believe you would not even be able to dig deep enough to remove all the heavy metals and cyanobacteria, which would cause a proliferation of the cyanobacteria and harmful algae blooms. Cyanobacteria is actually limited by TP, so when the TP is removed, it causes the cyanobacteria to proliferate and harmful algae blooms to occur. So then in 2017, the city took a chance on a pilot project. It was grant funded for roughly $70,000, and it used a reverse osmosis system to try to clean up the water. It failed because it did not take into consideration the total phosphorus, or the TP, in the muck. Once you remove phosphorus from the water column, it constantly replenished itself by the muck and sediment beneath it. And there's just too much of it to clear. It's also possible that the TP that was removed from the water caused this cyanobacteria to proliferate, which we can see from this next photo. We're in a critical point right now. This pea green color, this picture was taken within the last 3 years, is indicative of cyanobacteria and hypereutrophic conditions that cause HABs, or harmful algae blooms. They're toxic not only to wildlife and small animals, but also to humans. In fact, Vlad Novotny, who's a resident in town and a water scientist who's been talking with us for quite some time about this problem, was alarmed by this image, and he warns us of its seriousness. So where are we now? The Parks Commission has had the great benefit of speaking with both Vlad Novotny, a PhD in water science engineering, and his colleague Wendy Goldsmith, who's a PhD in climate resilience, both of whom have generously donated their time and expertise to us. They have some hypotheses. First, they say that the toxic heavy metals that exist in the subsoil of the pond are from legacy of pollution, and they're not mobile due to both their chemical composition and the fact that they are bound tightly by the clay and organic particles in the sediment. They both agree that this does not warrant dredging. Second, they tell us that a quick calculation of the amount of TP in the muck based on the depths measured by the 2014 report is close to 12 metric tons, which would be extremely costly to dredge and to move. Their recommended solution is the following. First, drain the pond. Second, let the sun dry it out and hopefully desiccate and condense some of the top layer of muck. Then slightly sculpt the bottom of the pond. We want about 5 feet of depth near the fountain to support overwintering fish and aquatic life, and the rest of the pond maintained at its current 2 to 3 foot depth. Third, we cap it with a geosynthetic liner and a layer of sand and clay that will support aquatic plants that will further support a healthy ecosystem in the pond. The liner will cap and separate the toxic muck from the water column permanently. And this is very important so that we no longer are circulating that toxic material into the water. Fourth, we'll fill the pond using shallow wells. This is for non-potable water. We've asked the CPC this year for funds to pay for 2 shallow wells. Fifth, we'll aerate the water by restoring the fountain. And we've also asked for CPC funds this year to restore the fountain, which is functional. It's just discolored and needs some work to renovate it. Sixth, we'll stabilize the edge of the pond in sections with granite and recreate sections of the beach. If you recall Chuck Griffin's presentation from about 3 years ago, he gave a lengthy presentation to the City Council. He talked about the fact that Charles Eliot had a vision for this park back in the early 1900s. The city at that time followed through with most of his suggestions, but the slopes at the base of the playground and a stable water's edge were never realized. So we aim not only to restore the mall, but also to follow through on Eliot's vision. So talking about some money, again, we have 2 separate CPC applications for this that went in this last week. The first CPC application is for a bathymetric survey, which is a topographic survey of the bottom of the pond extending out 30 feet from the perimeter. This will help with our planning of the liner. Second is 2 shallow wells, again, for a water source when the pond needs to be refilled or tapped off. And third is acquisition of granite for that portion of the edging. And we are hopeful that we can etch the granite stones with both the history of the mall as well as donor names to help with fundraising. The second CPC application is to restore the fountain. So beyond the CPC, we're hopeful that we can apply for some state and federal grants. We're hopeful that we can rely exclusively on grant funding if at all possible. We're planning some fundraising campaigns such as the etching of the pond stone edging that I just discussed, and other hopeful fundraising campaigns as well. And finally, we'd like to bring paddle boat activity back into the pond. We're thinking of flat bottom skiffs that can be rented on hour increments, maybe also ice skating rentals and other ways to generate revenue to continue to maintain the pond into the future. We believe it's time to start this project now. Thank you. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you. While we have the advantage of Chair Turner, does anyone want to ask any questions?
I do.
I guess not. Thanks very much, Chair, for joining us for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, so now we're on to communications. The first 3, Clerk Jones, 286 through 288, I put in, so you can just take those collectively.
286 is parliamentary procedure, Britannica Online, and 287 is deliberative assembly from Wikipedia.
And 288.
And 288, which is from the State Library of Massachusetts with respect to parliamentary procedure. Those 3.
Yeah, I just put them in informationally. What does the council want to do?
Motion to receive and file.
Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, and there's a second. Roll call.
Okay, and a motion to receive and file. Councilor Devlin.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Councilor Tondar.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Eigenman.
Yes. Communication 289.
289 is Newburyport's litigation status report. It is confidential from February 2021.
For a motion?
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Okay. Councillor Khan.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I was just wondering, since this is confidential, have we ever in the past done like an executive session to kind of go through these or ask any questions we might have? And is that something we can entertain?
Yeah, we have. I mean, instead of receiving and filing, you could refer it to general government and committee of the whole. Do that.
Would those who made the motion to receive and file consider that? I think that might be beneficial.
Yeah, certainly. I would withdraw my motion to receive and file.
I withdraw my second.
And
yeah, go ahead.
And move instead to, well, go ahead, Councillor Khan.
Yeah, so motion to refer to general government and committee of the whole. And then do we say executive session too for that, or is that?
No, we always have to start an open session and then vote to go into executive session. I know that's silly, but that's what we do.
I would second her motion.
Okay. Is there a discussion on the motion to refer to general government committee of the whole? Councillor Zede.
The only thing is, are you planning, would you do something like that as part of a committee meeting or at the tail end of a council meeting, as we've typically done with exec sessions? I know that committees can too, but if we're going to bring the city solicitor in, I
guess it really depends. We'll talk about it at good of the order tonight. I'll ask people how many people are interested.
Sure.
Let's do it that way. If it's everybody, then yeah, we'll tack it on to a regular meeting. That'd be efficient.
Okay. No objection then. Thank you.
All right. Any further? Roll call.
So motion to refer to general government and committee of the whole. Councilor Devlin.
Yes, I just want to make it clear that I've only seen a redacted copy of this with something that has to do with an abutter, or that I'm an abutter of, that was not on my copy. So
do you want to recuse yourself from the vote?
Yeah, yes, I'll recuse myself from the vote.
Thank you. Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Councilor Tantar.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Eigenmann.
Yes. Thank you. Now, from the consent agenda, we had communication 290, which is the Falmouth broadband. And then there was also 295 and 296. I don't know if those go together. Do those go together, Councilor Tantar?
They were all going to public utilities. They were all submitted, I believe, by Councilor Tantar.
Councilor Tantar,
I'd like to move that they be referred to a public utility committee.
Collectively? Okay.
Mr. President, the reason I asked
we'll wait.
Second.
I just need a second.
Oh,
Councilor Khan seconded. Go ahead, Councilor Tantar.
Yeah, thank you. The reason I asked these be taken out, I wanted to explain to the council and also to the public what I'm doing here. All of us have received a number of communications over the years regarding the lack of competition in provision of cable and internet service in the city. There are changes, technological changes that are occurring. That would be 5G. And also other municipalities. Falmouth is the example that I'm referring to, public utilities that have created their own municipal internet services. So the purpose in getting these into committee is just to look at them to make sure we're up to date. I know the chair, the former chair of public utilities spent some time with 5G. I remind people that the FCC ruled that municipalities could not prevent companies from putting up small cell boxes, and that's currently being litigated. But I thought that we should get up to speed on this, on both possibilities of providing a little more competition and some relief to residents in terms of fees. So we're going to take a look at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Roll call.
A roll call on those three communications. Councilor Devlin.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Councilor Tantar,
Yes.
Councilor Vogel,
Yes.
Councilor Wallace,
Yes.
Councilor Zede,
Yes.
and Councilor Agaman.
Yes. Thank you. Next is Communication 294. That's the open meeting rules email that we got back from the AG, and then the deputy had attached a decision. Is there a motion on that?
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Motion to receive and file Communication 294. Councilor Devlin,
Yes.
Councilor Khan,
Yes.
Councilor Lane,
Yes.
Councilor McCauley,
Yes.
Councilor Connell,
Yes.
Councilor Shan,
Yes.
Councilor Tantar,
Yes.
Councilor Vogel,
Yes.
Councilor Wallace,
Yes.
Councilor Zede,
Yes.
Councilor Agaman.
Yes. Next is an appraisal or Communication 297. I believe that goes with an order later on, having to do with, tell us about that.
It does. I mean, it came in separately as a communication. I thought it needed to come in. It actually would go with order
238.
just what I meant, 238. Thank you.
And this
So-
has to do with land around the Artichoke Reservoir.
Correct, the Colby land.
Okay. What does the council wish to do?
Motion to refer to planning and development.
Second. Can
Discussion?
I just piggyback if we could waive the rules and take 238 collectively and send them both, if that's the intent, just to get them out of the way. If you want to
Sure.
wait, it's fine. Okay, thanks. So I'd make that motion just to
We don't need
piggyback.
a waiver. Let's just go on. Let's just move on. All those in favor.
Point of
sorry.
order, I'm sorry, where are we? I'm sorry, I lost track.
We have an appraisal.
Yes.
Communication 297. There's a
Got it.
motion on the floor to refer it to planning and development. It's been
Yep.
seconded. Any discussion?
Thank you. I thought that you were attaching another one.
No, he's not attaching.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Councilor Devlin,
Yes.
Councilor Khan,
Yes.
Councilor Lane,
Yes.
Councilor McCauley,
Yes.
Councilor Connell, Councilor
Muted.
muted. Skipping Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Yes, for Councilor Shan,
Yes.
Councilor Tantar,
Yes.
Councilor Vogel,
Yes.
Councilor Wallace,
Yes.
Councilor Zede,
Yes.
Councilor Agaman. That is Communication 297.
Next.
Leading us to Communication 298, which is the late file, Plum Island fiscal implications of sea level rise.
Motion to refer to budget and finance.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Communication 298, roll call. Councilor Devlin,
Yes.
Councilor Khan,
Yes.
Councilor Lane,
Yes.
Councilor McCauley,
Yes.
Councilor Connell,
Yes.
Councilor Shan,
Yes.
Councilor Tantar,
Yes.
Councilor Vogel,
Yes.
Councilor Wallace,
Yes.
Councilor Zede,
Yes.
Councilor Agaman.
Yes. We have Communication 299, which got pulled from consent. It was a late
Communication
file.
I'm sorry, Councilor, 299 is the letter from Phillips Drive that I had sent around to everyone this afternoon.
That's right.
Motion to refer to neighborhood and city services.
Second.
Second.
Debate. Roll call.
Communication 298, Councilor Devlin,
Yes.
Councilor Khan,
Yes.
Councilor Lane,
Yes.
Councilor McCauley,
Yes.
Councilor Connell,
Yes.
Councilor Shan,
Yes.
Councilor Tantar,
Yes.
Councilor Vogel,
Yes.
Councilor Wallace,
Yes.
Councilor Zede,
Yes.
and Councilor Agaman.
Yes. All right, so Walter Chagnon is a first reading appointment, so I think we have to slot it in here.
Right, correct. That is appointment 231.
Councilor Devlin is recused on this item.
Thank you.
Got it.
Councilor Lane?
I'm also going to recuse myself on this.
All right, two councilors recused. You got that?
I do. This
All
is
right.
for Walter Shagnon, 43 Lime Street, to the Zoning Board of Appeals until 3/31/2021. This would be a first reading.
I thought this was a referral to planning. No, that's how it was listed in the agenda.
It
Yes,
is, but for appointments, we call them first readings. That's how that's done in the rules. So we have to
Yes.
vote, and then it will automatically go for a public hearing at the Planning and Development.
Got it.
Correct.
Roll call.
Councilor Devlin
Recused.
is recused. Councilor Khan,
Yes.
Councilor Lane is recused. Councilor McCauley,
Yes.
Councilor Connell,
Yes.
Councilor Shan,
Yes.
Councilor Tantar,
Yes.
Councilor Vogel,
Yes.
Councilor Wallace,
Yes.
Councilor Zede,
Yes.
Councilor Eigenman.
Yes. Second readings.
Second reading, we have the
I think
following.
we have a confirmatory one that got pulled as well. Is
as
that
an-
considered a first one? 226?
You're right.
You're
Appointment
right.
226.
Correct, thank you. That's Andrew Port, 61 Water Street, Director of Planning and Development, till January 31st, 2022. Confirmatory because it came in recently, but I believe it was submitted as 2021.
You mean we already, I'm sorry, point of order. You mean we already did it recently?
You did do it recently, but you need to redo it as a confirmatory, if you will, because the date was extended by 1 year.
Motion to refer to planning and development.
Second.
Okay. Well, I think, well, this is automatically going to get referred, right? Under our rules.
For our rules, it will, yes.
I pulled it because it wasn't starred in the
Yeah, I'm not actually sure his name. The director is part of our rules. I think it's just members of the planning. But in any event, if the motion is to send it there.
No, it's planning director and zoning administrator are automatic.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so this would be, in any case, the effect of the motion is approval on first reading, which sets it for a public hearing at planning and development. Everyone know what we're voting on? Roll call.
Appointment 226. Does Councilor Devlin wish to vote on this? I don't believe he does. He's recused. Councilor Khan,
Yes.
Councilor Lane,
Recused.
recused also. Thank you. Councilor McCauley,
Yes.
Councilor Connell,
Yes.
Councilor Shan,
Yes.
Councilor Tantar,
Yes.
Councilor Vogel,
Yes.
Councilor Wallace,
Yes.
Councilor Zede,
Yes.
Councilor Eigenman. Let me make note
Yes.
of those two recusals. Thank you.
All right, have we exhausted first appointments? KP
we are
Law.
not-
KP Law.
Motion to refer to general government and committee of the whole.
Second.
Any debate? Councilor Lane, are you back in on this one?
I am.
Councilor Devlin, you're back in?
Yeah, what are we talking about?
We're talking about referring to general government and committee of the whole proposed nomination of KP Law as city solicitor. Any further debate? Roll call.
Roll call on appointment 229. Councilor Devlin,
Yes.
Councilor Khan,
Yes.
Councilor Lane,
Yes.
Councilor McCauley,
Yes.
Councilor Connell,
Yes.
Councilor Shan,
Yes.
Councilor Tantar,
Yes.
Councilor Vogel,
Yes.
Councilor Wallace,
Yes.
Councilor Zede,
Yes.
Councilor Eigenman.
Yes.
Wonderful. I believe we're at second readings, am I correct?
Yep. Second readings.
So this would be a second reading, which I will do all the appointments first, if you will. Appointment 218, Colin Sarf, 23 Charter Street, the Commission on Disability until 2/28/2024, followed by appointment 219, Charles Griffin, 3 Vernon Street to the CPC until 2/1/2024. Appointment 227, Glenn Richards, 6 Kent Street to the CPC until 2/1/2022. Appointment 221, Paula Burke, 23 Blueberry Lane, Topsfield, to the Council on Aging as Director until 2/28/2024. If you will, the following reappointments. Appointment 224, Mark Rosen, 20 Fair Street, CPC until 2/1/2024. And lastly, appointment 225, Michael Dissett, 44 Jefferson Street, to the CPC until 3/1/2024.
Motion to approve collectively on second reading.
Second.
Any debate? Roll call.
Second reading of the following appointments. Councilor Devlin.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Councilor Tantar.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
And Councilor Eigenman.
Yes. Thank you. On to orders.
Order is the aforementioned Order 238 on the conservation restriction and the easements from the Essex County Greenbelt Association off Middle Street, so-called Colby Land or the Artichoke River Project.
Motion to refer to planning and development.
Second.
Second.
Any debate? Roll call.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Councilor Khan.
Thank you. Councilor Devlin,
Yes.
Councilor Khan,
Yes.
Councilor Lane,
Yes.
Councilor McCauley,
Yes.
Councilor Connell,
Yes.
Councilor Shan,
Yes.
Councilor Tantar,
Yes.
Councilor Vogel,
Yes.
Councilor Wallace,
Yes.
Councilor Zede,
Yes.
and Councilor Eigenman.
Yes. Order 239.
Order 239 is with respect to Council Rule 7 and Rule 10B. It's submitted by Councilor Khan. Councilor, are you going to summarize? Would you like me to try to? Or?
I could, but I'll make the motion if you want. Motion to refer to the Rules Committee.
Second.
Debate? Did Councilor Khan, you had your hand up?
Yes. Thank you, Council President. This is actually at least a portion. Rule 7 is kind of an offshoot, I think, from our retreat where we talked a little bit about, you know, is there, I believe I asked some of the councilors what they thought if we introduced a rule to kind of establish committees at the beginning of our term, our 2-year term. And I kind of read through the rule a little bit and looked at just, it looked like an easy kind of insert in terms of our inaugural meeting, which is defined as the first meeting that's done as our term commences. So I thought it would be kind of a rule we could establish and discuss in committee and talk about its merits. And so that was the intention with that modification in Rule 7, which is under committees and committee business. I did also then include another rule, and I was debating whether to separate these into 2 different orders, but then I thought, you know, if we do need to, when it comes to after talking about them in the rules committee, if we need to bifurcate, we could do that. But the other rule, 10B, which is really about gaining the floor and the amount of like how we deliberate on the floor. One of the things that I saw in a lot of other communities too is just the debate and kind of limiting the debate or putting some parameters around it. And I thought this is, again, something that might be worth discussion in the Rules Committee and talk a little bit about. So that's the intention of these rules, and I hope you will support it going to the Rules Committee for further discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Further debate? Roll call.
The roll call on motion to send this to the Rules Committee. Councilor Devlin.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Councilor Tantar.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Eigenman. Thank you.
Yes. And then we have Order 240, which came in late.
That is the resolution submitted by the mayor, sponsored by Council President, with respect to COVID-19 victims and survivors, setting a Memorial Day. And I don't know if it's going to committee. I need not read it, Mr. President.
I don't think you need to read it. Is there a motion? I mean, can we refer it somewhere? Again, we have until March 1st, so we're going to meet again on February 22nd. We don't need
Motion to refer to general government.
Second.
Does debate on that? Roll call.
Motion referred to general government. Councilor Devlin.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Councilor Tantar.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Eigenman.
Yes. Thank you. No ordinances, right? So committee
No
items? All right.
Committee items.
All right. Ad hoc committee on economic development. Again, with the warmer weather, maybe that will rev up again. Ad hoc committee on expansion of Market Landing Park. You got a good report from the mayor, very thorough. The only thing you need to know is we are going to meet again Wednesday night, so 48 hours from now, because now that we have all the materials and the bids open, we need to pick someone and recommend it to the full council. We'll start that in open session, but unfortunately, after that, because of procurement laws, it has to go into executive session. So it's not something that's open to the public or non-members, unfortunately. But we'll bring it to the full council. Budget and finance.
Yes, Mr. President, motion to receive and file communication 264, which was a late file. Late file from resident Colleen Turner.
Second.
Debate, explanation.
Sure, I'll speak to it. The committee met on January 28th, 2021. This and the other matter that will be coming out tonight were heard. This was a letter from a resident back from September when we were in the midst of tax rate setting, and basically a request that we be mindful of the tax rate. The committee did discuss it. The vote to suggest receive and file was 3-0. Another request from the committee was to contact the resident to let them know that this would be discussed tonight. That was completed as well. So asking you to receive and file it.
Roll call.
Roll call on receive and file communication 264. Councilor Devlin.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Councilor Tantar.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Eigenman. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. President, motion to approve order number 228, which is related to the CPA for the Congregational Church Steeple Project.
Second.
And I'll speak to that as well. That was heard at the same meeting. We had some public comment offered by representatives of the church. Just by way of just brief reminder, we probably all remember this project wherein CPA funds were recommended by the CPC and then approved by the council. From there, the project proceeded to some degree, but with controversy over the windows, resulting in some legal action. What ended up happening was, in the end, the $75,000 appropriation, 50 of it had been, 25 of it, had been, 25 of it had been left out there and sort of didn't really know what to do with it. Councilor Shan brought this in and during committee presented a sort of a brief history and provided some communication to the committee about the history of this. The effect of this would be to rescind a portion of that award, but would not preclude the applicant from coming in for future CPC money if desired. The committee discussed for a decent amount of time. It was amended from its original version that came in committee, dated December 14th. The version you see in the packet really has the same final impact, but the language is, I think, much improved. And that's the version you see there. The amendment was passed by a vote of 3-0, and the proposed to approve as amended, which is again what you see here, as it came out of committee, was 3-0 as well. I would certainly defer to the sponsor if there's anything else that I missed or would be worth adding to the conversation.
No, I think you did a fine job there.
Thank you. And that's it. So motion to approve as you see it.
Any further comments? Roll call.
One comment.
No, Councilor Connell has his hand up.
Yeah, I'm going to vote no on this, as I have previously. Although I know that the SJC has advised us otherwise, I believe that the expenditure of public funds on a place of worship where there is an active congregation violates my sense of the separation of religious activity and the responsibilities of the state, and therefore I'll be voting no on this matter. I hope this does not reflect, it's not intended to reflect upon the sincerity of the applicant or the thoroughness of the Community Preservation Committee, but I do think we have to try to draw a pretty bright line between supporting religious activities, which this could be interpreted as such.
Thank you, Councilor. Did other councilors wish to speak? I didn't mean to shortchange them. Roll call.
So roll call on order 228. Councilor Devlin.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
No.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Councilor Tantar.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
And Councilor Eigenman.
Yes.
10 yes, 1 no. Measure passes.
Just one other quick comment. I just wanted to notice you about 2 upcoming committee of the whole items that will be heard as part of Budget and Finance. On the 11th, we have the continuation of the Low Street discussions, if you will. That's at 7:15. You should have already gotten a Zoom link for that if you didn't, just let me know. And then just to give you a little further heads up, on the 25th, which will be our next regular meeting of Budget and Finance, the matters relating to Fuller Field will also be discussed. As I guess there's some new information for us to hear. One of those items for Fuller Field was referred as committee of the whole. So I'm just giving you a heads up that the 11th and the 25th will be 2 committee of the whole meetings or discussions if you wish to attend. And that's it for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Chair Khan, Education.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I do have quite a few things to update everyone on. We did meet on February 1st and had an opportunity to get information from the superintendent on a few things. And I'll take each of I have 3 main categories I wanted to make sure I covered here with the council. The first was in regard to the high school roof and the chillers. And we just asked about the status of those items, given the, as we know, we've heard in the past, based on the uncertainty on their operation, and we have the MSBA grant as well going in to fix the high school roof. The MSBA grant application that we submitted, we did not hear yet if we got the grant. And normally, if you haven't heard by now, it means they did not choose the project. So we would need to resubmit that. And the superintendent did share that we will probably be seeing that in spring. And typically, we heard it'll be the same application will be brought right back to us. In terms of the roof repairs, though, we allocated $20,000, of which they spent $9,700. And so Steve Bergholm, the facilities director, thinks that that should be sufficient to get them through. And in terms of the chillers, they are working with an O&M firm in terms of making sure that operationally they're doing the right things for tune-ups to try to extend life and make sure it's going to be working as well as it could. So in terms of the administration office space and needs, we did hear that the Knockmolin area and that building that is probably one of the areas that they have identified maybe some additional space needed. When we probed a little bit more about knowing district-wide, the superintendent did share that they are hoping to talk this year about understanding what are the needs district-wide in all the buildings. And in terms of a strategic plan effort that's going to be happening too, this is one of the things that they hope to, or we've asked that they, or I have, that they kind of include as they look at what curriculum needs are happening across the district. How does that work with the projection in terms of classroom space? Counselor Zede brought up a good point about the full day kindergarten. And as you know, a lot of districts are not required to offer free full day kindergarten, but that is something that's being looked at to have happen here in Newburyport. You know, there will be a cost to the coverage. Right now, if you do full day kindergarten, you pay for it. But in terms of working with Nancy Lysick and the principal, they're trying to see how they could make that happen, because your price per pupil expenditure actually can now count those students. And so it does affect the kind of state funding you could get. So they're trying to look at creative ways and trying to see what would benefit overall for the school and the budgeting. We talked about world languages, Spanish being kind of more integrated in the middle school. And then finally, all this is recorded and I'll have notes posted as well, but I just really want to focus a little bit now on the vaccinations. And right now, who has done the testing, it's Cataldo is who we've been working with. And they are also kind of slated to do a large amount of vaccinations that they've been doing at Fenway. And they've agreed to do the vaccinations for the faculty as well here at the school district. And the superintendent shared that by the end of February, they're hoping to get school faculty, those who choose to get vaccinated. And he did share we might be one of the first districts to be doing that based on the relationship with Cataldo. And that would be happening in the NOC gym. And those are a lot of things. And I'm sorry for the long update, but it was a good meeting. And finally, on February 23rd at 6:30 will be the first school budget kind of draft budget hearing. And I encourage all of you, if you're interested, to please tune into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Khan. General government, we are scheduled. I haven't posted it yet, but we're going to meet on February 16th. That's a Tuesday, so a week from tomorrow. I finally got around to writing the minutes from our December meeting, which have to be reviewed and adopted by the committee. The topic of our December meeting were to report back to the full council on charter issues. We had an extensive debate over that, and I listened to the tape over the weekend and wrote the minutes. I think I'm going to add to the agenda this resolution about COVID-19 March 1st commemoration, but we'll discuss the litigation report and the KP law, as I said, during good of the order. So let's put a pin in that. Licenses and permits, Chair Devlin. Oh, I'm sorry. I went too fast. It is already out. I need a motion on order 237.
Can't hear you.
Need a motion on order 237.
Motion to approve order 237 as amended.
Second.
Is there a discussion? Does everybody know what it is? It's in the packet. This is the resolution about the January 6th attack on the Capitol in Washington, D.C. No further discussion. Roll call.
Roll call on order 237 as amended. Councilor Devlin.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Councilor Tontar.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Eigenman.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, sorry, I am not finished. That's it for my report. Now, license and permits, Chair Devlin.
Yeah, I have nothing to report. We have nothing to report that's coming out today. I do want to just let everybody know that we are having a hearing on Wednesday starting at 6 p.m. for the short-term rentals. Hope to really dive into the portion of short-term rentals that's sort of the structure for applying for the license and going through the license commission. So we'll have us there, and the one of the sponsors is on licensing and permits now. The other sponsor will come, and then I'm going to bring the license chairperson as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Devlin. Chair Connell, Neighborhood and City Service.
Nothing to report tonight.
Thank you. Planning and Development, Chair Shand.
All right, big night for P&D. First, I would ask that any counselor who needs to recuse themselves from any of the ZBA appointments, you might want to do it now, and I will take care of those first.
I'll see y'all later.
All right.
I
Let the
also
record show.
I'm going to recuse as well.
Councilors Lane and Devlin are recused.
Got it.
All right. So motion to remove from Planning and Development Committee appointments 215, Rob Ciampetti, and I'm going to do this collectively. Appointment 222, Gregory Bennett. Appointment 228, Ken Swanton. Appointment 223, Stephen Delisle, and then appointment 201, Jennifer Blanchet.
Second.
So that's 5 people, right?
Correct.
Everyone know what we're doing? Any discussion? Roll call.
So on a motion to remove those 5 ZBA related appointments. Councilor Devlin is recused. Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane is recused. Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Councilor Tantar.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
And Councilor Eigenman.
Yes.
Very
All
good.
right. Motion to approve collectively.
Second.
Appointments, all 5 of them again.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes. Can I go through all 5 appointments, please?
Let her rip.
All right. Appointment 215, Rob Ciampetti. He is our current ZBA chair. He has been doing the yeoman's work for the ZBA for the last year. He was not actually able to be at our meeting, but the Councilor President Eigenman spoke on his behalf, and we have voted 3-0 to approve him. Appointment 222, Gregory Bennett. He is a 2-year resident, came here from Rhode Island, and he is a land use lawyer, and he wants to give back to the community. So his appointment was also voted 3-0 for approval. Appointment 228, Ken Swanton. He is a reappointment to the ZBA. He is also a land use lawyer, retired, but giving back to the community. The committee voted 3-0 to approve. Appointment 223, Stephen Delisle, another reappointment to the ZBA, also a land use attorney. There is a joke here somewhere. But the committee voted 3-0 to approve Stephen Delisle as well. Stephen Delisle and Ken Swanton both have the last year experience on the ZBA and gave us some good feedback on things we should be looking at to change to any kind of zoning, specifically looking at Plum Island. So we took that as an action going forward this year. And last but not least, we spoke with appointment 201, Jennifer Blanchett, our zoning administrator, also been doing yeoman's work in the planning office for all things zoning, from short-term rentals to building department information, anything and everything. So we've voted to approve her position 3-0 as well. So.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Yeah, I just want to defend Attorney Delisle. He's not actually a land use attorney. He has a straight job, and I don't think Ken's an attorney. But roll call.
Used to be. Okay.
So roll call on those 5 appointments. Motion to approve. Councilor Khan, for the record, is still recused. I'm sorry, Devlin. Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane is still recused. Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Councilor Tantar.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Eigenman.
Yes.
Motion approved passes 9 yes, 2 recused.
All right.
Keep going.
So I want to get our 2 counselors back.
I don't know how to do that.
I can try.
Are they back?
No.
I don't think they're back. Oh, Councillor Lane is back. I see signs of life. I don't see Councillor Devlin. I don't know.
I'm texting him.
Yeah, if you could text him, that'd be great. Give him a minute. Chair Shan, tell us about Cornelia Walsh.
Appointment 217. Motion to receive and file appointment 217.
Second.
Go ahead.
So the Conservation Commission was supposed to have an opening and they did not. So her appointment, although made it into our packet, it was no longer required. So we opted to vote 3-0 to receive and file that one.
Further discussion? Roll call.
Roll call to receive and file appointment 217. Is Councillor Devlin, yes?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor Lane? It's muted.
Yes.
There we go. Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Connell?
Yes.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Tantar?
Yes.
Councillor Vogel?
Yes.
Councillor Wallace?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
And Councillor Eigenman?
Yes.
All right. Appointment 208, motion to approve Mark Cendron to the Historic Commission.
Second.
Go ahead.
All right, Mr. Cendron is easing into retirement. He received many nice comments from some of the folks on our Historic Commission and in our Newburyport area who are interested in historic preservation. So the committee voted 3-0 to approve his appointment to the Historic Commission.
Further discussion? Roll call.
Roll call on Mark Cendron, appointment 208. Councillor Devlin?
Yes.
Khan?
Yes.
Councillor Lane?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Connell?
Yes.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Tantar?
Yes.
Councillor Vogel?
Yes.
Councillor Wallace?
Yes.
Councillor Z?
Yes.
Councillor Eigenman?
Yes.
All right. Moving right along, appointment 210, motion to approve Michael Sullivan to the Waterfront Trust.
Second.
All right, Mr. Sullivan has his business in the business park, and with his kids moving into college, he wanted to start giving back to the community, and he is impressed with what we've been doing at the waterfront. So he asked for the Waterfront Trust, and as an engineer, I had no problem with that. We approved him 3-0 in committee to approve.
Thank you. Further comments? Roll call.
So roll call on appointment 210, Michael Sullivan. Councillor Devlin?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor Lane?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Connell?
Yes.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Tantar?
Yes.
Councillor Vogel?
Yes.
Councillor Wallace?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Eigenman?
Yes.
All right, motion to approve appointment 216, Carol Wagon to the Conservation Commission.
Second.
All right, Ms. Wagon spoke to us about her consulting firm. She is a lawyer in the community and she's also involved in the environment. Actually spoke about her time being against the Seabrook nuclear power plant. So she was very eager to be on the Conservation Commission, and we voted 3-0 for her approval.
Further comment from councilors? Hearing none. Roll call.
Appointment 216, Councillor Devlin?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor Lane?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Connell?
Yes.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Tantar?
Yes.
Councillor Vogel?
Yes.
Councillor Wallace?
Yes.
Councillor Z?
Yes.
And Councillor Eigenman?
Yes.
And last appointment, but not least, appointment 220, motion to approve Daniel Burkall to the Conservation Commission.
Second.
All right, Mr. Warcall was good enough to actually call in from the road when he was driving back from Connecticut for his hearing, which says a lot right there. He is also the youngster on the committee, having been on the Conservation Commission for 12 years, youngster. So his dedication to the committee is noble, and we thanked him for his re-upping, and we voted 3-0 for his approval. Somebody else did too.
That's my dog.
Roll call.
This is a roll call on appointment 220. Councilor Devlin.
Me and Maggie are a yes.
Excellent. Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Councilor Tantar.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
And Councilor Eigenman.
Yes.
All right, I think that is it for appointments. Last but not least, motion to approve Order 234, the preservation restriction on 190 High Street.
Second.
Tell us about it.
All right, we had an opportunity to speak to Ted Nelson, who is the owner of 190 High Street, and he was taking it upon himself to do the whole PR himself. He is looking to move into the carriage house, and there were some restrictions that were put on the actual building. Some were not, though. The northern facade, which was not an area that they were going to preserve, was not included. But there were some restrictions, including a comment regarding the driveway that Councilor Eigenman brought up, which they have no intention of doing any work to in the near future. So it was a nice conversation, and we thanked him for his effort in putting in the PR restriction on the house himself. So the committee voted 3-0 to approve this restriction.
Further councilor discussion, comment, debate. Roll call.
Roll call on approving Order 234. Councilor Devlin.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Councilor Tantar.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
And Councilor Eigenman.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Thank you. Anything else, Chair Shan?
That is it. Thank you, Council President.
All right, thank you. Chair McCauley, Public Safety.
Nothing tonight, Council President. Thank you.
Chair Tantar, Public Utilities.
Nothing tonight. I just, we cancel out of a sense of humanity and logic. We canceled the meeting last Tuesday, the night of the 17-inch snowstorm, to discuss water and sewer fees. We have not yet rescheduled that meeting. I will do it as soon as it stops snowing.
Thank you.
In April.
Chair Vogel, rules.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Okay, so good of the order.
Yes, Mr. President.
Go right ahead.
I just wanted to notify councilors, you may have observed that the mailbox on Green Street that was accessible to people from their cars has been removed. And yeah. I've gotten some feedback from residents, particularly people who have a hard time getting in and out of a vehicle, elderly people or people with disabilities. And I thought it'd be appropriate for the council to express some concern about that matter. They've moved them to a location directly in front of the building. To gain access to those mailboxes, you've got to get out of your vehicle, cross the sidewalk, having parked your car, and use them. And I had a conversation with Chair Donahue of the Disabilities Commission, and this is particularly an issue of concern for the commissioners there. And what we agreed to do was to draft a letter, hopefully to bring before the council for full council endorsement, advising the postal authorities that this convenience is actually more than just a convenience. It's closer to a necessity for those people who have mobility issues. And we had set aside that area from, reserved it for them. So there's no parking on that side of Green Street where the mailboxes had previously been. And we'd hope that they would return them to that location. We understand that they've had some headaches monitoring them, some vandalism that they've had to deal with, but I think perhaps with some surveillance cameras, they could put an end to that sort of thing if they really put their minds to it. So I'm going to, by our next meeting, bring a letter to the council. I hope most of you will be able to sign on to it.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Lane, were you raising your hand on this or something else?
I was, yeah. So when that happened, I had reached out to one of the supervisors there just to give you some more info. They were phasing out those boxes because of the fact that you can get things in them of certain sizes, and they just didn't have the other ones that were restrictive of that. I spoke to him a couple of months ago, so you may want to reach out and just find out that it's that plan had started, I believe it was October of last year, prior to COVID, and then once that kicked in, they were just about catching up when they started taking them from the Green Street location. So I would double check and make sure that that can actually be achieved.
If I may respond, Mr. President?
Yeah, go ahead.
I also had a conversation with the postmaster, and it is within his discretion to put that kind of curbside service back in the location. He's chosen not to do so. I understand that they maintain many boxes around the city, more than I'd actually imagined, and that's a great service to people. But again, for particular members of our community, having that curbside access is important. And so I'm going to hopefully continue this conversation with them.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Councillor Khan had her hand up next.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I just wanted to let folks know that the next Ordinance Review Committee is going to be on Wednesday, February 17th. And we are just going chapter by chapter in our ordinances and doing reviews and updates. And everyone will be seeing something before us in terms of an outcome from this effort, which will be happening, I believe, in June is when we're supposed to have this done by. So I just want to let people know that that effort's going on. We do have a page on the city's website, so you could see as chapters are amended, we'll be posting them there, and people would take a look if they want and see what we've been doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Tantar is next.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to inform you that I have been appointed to the MMA's Fiscal Policy Committee. I do believe I have the at-large Councillor Khan to thank for that. And I'm very happy to serve. And tomorrow, Wednesday, we are meeting with the governor's staff, and they're going to discuss with the MMA Fiscal Policy Committee House Rule 1 with a particular emphasis on education funding. So I'll report back to you on that discussion. Also, any questions any of you might have about HR 1, and particularly about the education portion, I'd be happy to bring to the group.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other hands? Okay, then let's talk about the two things that got referred to General Government and Committee of the Whole, which are the litigation report, which we have to do in closed session, and then the nomination, which is annual. Annual? Yes, annual of the city solicitor, which is an open session. So I guess I take a straw poll. You can just raise your hands. How many people are interested in participating in these two items? Oh, I meant electronically, but let's see. 1, 2.
All right, electronically.
Yeah, sorry about that.
There you go.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Okay, 8. No, that's a tweener. All right, well, do you want me to, I can tack this on to the end of our next regular meeting, the 22nd, or I could tack it on to the end of the February 16th meeting that we're doing of general government. Doesn't really matter to me. Let me think.
I might make a suggestion.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would think the exec session would go well at the end of a council meeting, as we've traditionally done, and then maybe you could invite KP Law to the committee. That's my suggestion.
Okay, split the baby, huh? All right, put your hands down. And then what do people think of that suggestion? So we just do the executive session on the 22nd on status. But then I can add to the 16th the renomination of KP Law. If you are in favor of that idea, raise your blue hand. Yeah, okay. Well, that's 7, 8. All right. Sounds good. I think we just solved it. All right. Any other ideas on that whole rigmarole? No? Councilor Tantar, your hand up still?
Oh.
Oh, Councilor Zede? No?
Sorry, I just lost my ability to change it because my mouse lost power. Hold on.
Oh, no, that's all right. Okay, so I think that's what we'll do. So if people are interested in the KP Law nomination, please come on the 16th. And otherwise, at the end of the 22nd, we'll invite the city solicitor to tell us about all the litigation in executive session. But with that, I guess I would take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Got a roll call.
Sure. One more time, people would. I can actually tape this voice of mine and send it to you afterwards if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It'll be burned into our memory.
Motion to adjourn. Councilor Devlin?
Yes.
Councilor Connor?
Yes.
Councilor Lang?
Yes.
Councilor McCauley?
Yes.
Councilor Connor?
Yes.
Councilor Shan?
Yes.
Councilor Tonto?
Yes.
Councilor Vogel?
Yes.
Councilor Wallace?
Yes.
Councilor Zede?
Yes.
And Councilor Eigenman.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone. Good night.